Well, it helps if I add myself to the stage. Good morning, everyone, and happy Thursday. It's time for All-Jo Madden here on Picks and Parlays. I appreciate you guys who are already jumping into YouTube. Now, if you're watching over on X, make sure you do come on over here to YouTube so you can get these questions, your comments in over here in the live chat. Now, I've got a loaded show for you today. You guys know it's a Thursday night football. We have the battle of the grumpy old men. Or are they really grumpy? I don't know. If I was Joe Flacco and Aaron Rodgers, I'd be pretty happy at their age to be playing football still in the bright lights of Thursday night football. So maybe we'll get a happy Joe Flacco and Aaron Rodgers out there on the field tonight. But we're going to be breaking down that. We're also going to look at some baseball, the action out there on the diamonds, the Blue Jays trying to make a series of it here versus the Seattle Mariners. We'll see what they have in game 4, and then we're going to talk some college of football. Jesse Shields is going to come with us with some Friday night lights. We've also got a nice bet here from Dre Rich. So Jesse Shields and Dre Rich are the guests today, and I am excited to see what they are liking across the board. Now, do me a favor, you guys over here on YouTube, do hit that like button and comment below this video or in the live chat who you are liking today. Starting to see your comments coming in. Jesse already throwing out the handshake to everyone. And what's up, gang? Let's make some freaking money today, you guys. So we're going to jump into things here. As we go over everything, open your odds logic page. It is the best page to shop those odds. And also you can look at it over on picksandparlays.net as well. Those live odds over there, a great resource for you guys to use. One other thing I want to mention is we're still running that Weekend Warrior package. So the Weekend Warrior package, you don't want to miss out on this, you guys. It is this weekend. Get every football play from your Picks and Parlays handicapper of choice for Saturday and Sunday for only $49. Jesse and Dre Rich are part of this. As a bonus, they are going to give you those Monday plays at no extra cost. So definitely a great deal that you want to get here. We also have the $7 from participating handicappers on Friday. So that will be up tomorrow. Don't miss out on that one, you guys. Okay. Let's jump into things. Let's look at what happened yesterday. We did see the Toronto Blue Jays get the win. So definitely something you want to be looking at as we roll into game 4 here. There was a lot of action out there on the ice. We saw some lower scoring games yesterday. The Florida Panthers did take a loss. I almost said the Carolina Panthers, and then I thought I made that mistake. But the Florida Panthers did take the loss yesterday out there on the ice. So they're in a situation where they're looking for a bounce back. There's a lot to go over on today's slate, but let's bring Jesse Shields in first. We're going to see what he is loving out there across the board today, but we're going to start with Thursday night football. Jesse, how's it going?
It's going well, going very well. And I've got a pretty good run going with Thursday night football, though I did give out a Jackson Dart prop that didn't hit last week, but we still had the Giants and they won outright as a big underdog. So I'm feeling pretty good about Thursday night football.
You definitely should be. And I tell you, Jackson Dart and Cam Scadaboo, that connection between the two of them is becoming so phenomenal. Watching them out there on the field. Scadaboo, I had a lot of belief in him coming into the league. Did you?
I think the term is dog. He's a dog with an AW. Yeah. And yeah, as long as those guys stay healthy, I think the Giants will be in good shape.
Yeah, I absolutely think they will be in good shape as well. So let's get into, I know you got a Nick Saban quote, so we're going to hold off on that for a minute, but let's get into this Thursday night football game. The Pittsburgh Steelers taking on the Cincinnati Bengals. Now this spread sitting at that 5.5 mark, Jesse. We're seeing a total sitting at 44.5. Firstly, what do you think here about the two aging quarterbacks battling it out on a Thursday night?
Yeah, well, you said grumpy old men. I'd be pretty happy to turn back the clock and be the same age as Aaron Rodgers or Joe Flacco. But, I mean, they're both playing fairly well. I mean, Flacco he looked pretty good in his debut, I got to say. And it makes sense because Cincinnati's got a lot of talent at wide receiver. That's really all they've got. But they've also got a game plan that I think allows Flacco to have some success. And actually what I'm seeing in this game, Joe, I don't know if everybody sees it or if it's just me, but you look at what they did with Flacco last week. high volume of passes, all very short passes. Their offensive line's not that good, so what do you got to do? You got to get the ball out quickly, and that means short passes. Flacco is a veteran. He's poised. He knows how to do that, and he was quite successful. I think he was 29 of 45, a couple touchdowns, very accurate passing. I expect him to do that again against a Pittsburgh defense that ranks 27th in the NFL against the pass. I think they're giving up 245 yards per game. Of course, Cincinnati's defense, 31st against the pass. So two teams that can't stop the pass. And you've got to look at the running game now. Neither of these teams can run the ball. Jaylen Warren, the RB1 for Pittsburgh, he's failed to hit 50 yards in all but one of his games this season. And Chase Brown, the RB1 for Cincinnati, he's averaging just 2.5 yards per carry. Both these teams are better at defending the run than they are at defending the pass. The weather's supposed to be fine in Cincinnati today. I'm expecting both teams to want to air it out because that's what they do well, and that's what the other team struggles to stop. So I'm looking at a high-scoring game, and I think we can take advantage of some of the player props in that. I do like Cincinnati as a home dog. You got a divisional home dog on Thursday night. The divisional home dogs have been doing quite well for me, again, with the Giants last week. The 49ers is a divisional dog, not a home dog, but we cashed in with that. But, yeah, I'll take Cincinnati plus the points. Like I said, I expect it to be a high-scoring game because I think both these teams are going to really focus on the passing game. And Jamar Chase, his receptions hits at 6.5. And now I've put this out on social media, and a lot of people have said they want to take his touchdowns and yards. I got to say, that makes no sense. If you look at the game plan for the short passes, they're not accumulating a lot of yards with that passing game. They're getting a lot of completions. So betting on the receptions is a far better price. Makes more sense. And you don't bet anytime touchdowns on a dog that's only projected to score less than 20 points. It's not a thing that you want to be doing. So I put the focus on the receptions rather than the other bets for Jamar Chase.
Oh, I like it. So Cincy plus the 5.5, the over 44, and Jamar Chase over a 6.5 receptions coming in for you, Jesse, for your best free picks in this game. It's going to be exciting to see what these quarterbacks are able to do out there. We know both of them can sling that ball nice and deep, and we'll see them capitalize on the secondary, just like you said. Which of these quarterbacks do you think ultimately, like I know you've got Cincy plus the 5.5, but which quarterback do you think ends up having the better day? Is it Joe Flacco?
Well, Rodgers has the advantage of he's facing the weaker defense. So if you're asking who's going to put up more yards, I definitely say Rodgers. But if you're asking me who's going to win the game, I like Cincy in this spot at home with a capable quarterback. I think Pittsburgh might be a little bit overrated. If you look at the defenses Pittsburgh's faced, they faced some really good defenses, but they faced them at the opportune time. I think they caught Dylan Gabriel in his first start. They caught Minnesota when their entire offensive line was banged up. So Pittsburgh, I mean, you see what happened week 1 against the Jets. I don't think Pittsburgh is as good as some other 4-1 teams are.
Okay, so we have Aaron Rodgers over 29.5 pass attempts. Is that something you could get behind in this game?
I have no reason not to like that, but I'd probably like his yards better. Just the fact that he's facing a Bengals team that's probably going to be passing themselves, not burning up clock, and the Bengals give up the most yards, or the second most yards of any team in the NFL versus the pass. So I like yards better, but this is okay as well.
Yeah, and if you guys are looking at the passing yards there for Aaron Rodgers, it's 219.5. I saw it at 218.5. So obviously money is coming in on Aaron Rodgers for his passing prop to the over. One thing I found interesting, Jesse, and I'm not sure if you've been able to find it, some of the books are not yet posting the longest passes here for the quarterbacks. I'm not seeing it over on FanDuel. There were a couple of books that do have those numbers out yet, but interesting when some books don't have it that normally have that for a quarterback.
Yeah, maybe they've been getting killed, and maybe people have been really hitting them hard with that, or it could be a weather issue. If you get any wind, you don't want to be that's going to hurt those long passes. But I checked the weather report not this morning but last night, and as of last night, I wasn't expecting wind or rain or anything to really hamper the passing attack of either team.
Now, one thing I've heard people saying is looking at this game, they are liking the under because they're expecting both of these teams to take long drives down the field, converting on that third down, not converting on the second, and just eating up the clock. I don't see it playing out that way. Obviously, you don't taking the over in this one. Why would people be looking at it that way? I do think the running backs will get some passes, but like short passes off to them instead of the handoffs as well, because like you talked about, the running game just isn't solid for either of these teams. Like Cincinnati doesn't have an offensive line to open up those lanes, Jesse.
Yeah, no, that's the way I see it. Even though I see them dinking and dunking their way down the field, they're either going to fail to convert and hand the ball back to Pittsburgh, whereas I don't see Pittsburgh dinking and dunking. I mean, they're going to have probably wide open guys, blown coverages, and more opportunities for big plays for Pittsburgh, in my opinion, than Cincinnati. But I see both teams scoring, and I don't see clock killing drives, because in order to kill the clock, I mean, the running kills the clock every play. That clock just keeps on ticking. At least with the passing game, it's either a completion or it's not. And if it's not, then the clock stops. And that should allow for more possessions.
It's got to be a passing game in this one. Mike Tomlin coming in as a 5.5-point favorite. We know all the trends against why you wouldn't want to take him laying the 5.5. So a lot of things that we can go over later. You guys, if this comes down to a really exciting game, Jesse, do you think we could see this one go to OT? I was just looking for the overtime a bet here, what kind of value they're giving us. Again, I'm having struggles finding it on a couple of these books.
It sure would be helpful to all those player props I'm looking at with passing completions and receptions and yards, because that's what I'm expecting. I'm expecting the receivers and the quarterbacks to have a big day, and overtime certainly would help.
Let's see these grumpy two quarterbacks, as they call them, out there just firing away here on Thursday Night Football, turning back the hands of time. Again, you guys, Jesse's best bets in this game before we jump into some college football bets are Cincinnati plus the 5.5, the over 44, and Jamar Chase over 6.5 receptions. Love where you're going, Jesse, with those. So let's jump in. You teased it. Nick Saban quote. You got a Nick Saban quote for us? What is it?
I do. Okay, so Louisville is taking on Miami. They're a 13.5-point underdog against Miami on Friday night. Miami's coming off a bye week. Their last game was a win over Florida State, and that was really their last tough game. The schedule is a clear path for the rest of the season. They're projected. They'll be a double-digit favorite in every game they play from here on out. So I say they've been eating rat poison. They haven't played in 2 weeks. All they've been hearing all week is how good they are, what they've accomplished so far. And if you don't know what rat poison is, Nick Saban sums it up. A Nick Saban quote is, the rat poison you usually feed us is usually fatal, but the rat poison you fed us this week was yummy. And what Nick Saban means by rat poison is when you have a young player and a young team, a young quarterback, and you're constantly praising them, telling them they're great, telling them they can do no wrong. That's when they screw things up. A young guy with an ego and still developing cannot handle too much praise, as Nick Saban tells it. And that's all Miami's going to be getting the last 2 weeks. A lot of people are talking about them being the best team in the country. A lot of people are talking about Carson Beck for Heisman. Their egos will be so swollen heading into this game. That sets them up for a potential trouble spot. And on top of that, you know what? No team or no head coach has lost more games as a double-digit favorite since 2022 than Mario Cristobal. So I'm putting the Miami Hurricanes on upset alert.
Ooh, the upset alert for the Miami Hurricanes. Love where you're going with that. Grab them. Plus the points, small sprinkle on the money line. Or are you putting a full unit on it, Jesse?
Yeah, no, it's a sprinkle. I mean, it's interesting to talk about, but the fact of the matter is Miami fans, rest assured, I believe Miami can win this game by 20 points. I also believe there's a chance they slip up. A good chance, really. Like I said, all those things lay out perfectly. Historically, those things are factual. Cristobal has a reputation for blowing these kind of games, and Louisville is the kind of team that could take advantage. If he doesn't have his team ready to go, which it's going to be difficult for them to get up for this game the same way that this will be Louisville's Super Bowl, and Miami thinks they already won this game. So that's why I like the sprinkle on the money line. I want to add, though, don't bet it now. Wait till you get 14 or better, because most people don't think like me. Most people will be thinking Miami, and I'm sure that line's going to go up to 14.
A lot of people love to come in and bet those favorites. So I'm with you, Jesse, especially as the public money starts coming in. You guys, if you have questions, comments for any of the handicappers here on the show, make sure you do drop them below now. Jesse, all of your best packages, best plays are for sale on Picks and Parlays. Can you tell us what people can find over there for you and how you've been doing so far?
Yeah, I do have a 3-pack for tonight's Thursday Night Football. A lot of the player props that we've been discussing on this channel, some that we haven't. I'll have a full slate of college and pro games on the weekend, so that Weekend Warrior package will get you plenty of action. I had a dozen games on Sunday this past week. It was actually my worst NFL week of the season. I'm still hitting 70% since the beginning of last year's playoffs, so haven't received any complaints as of yet.
70% is absolutely phenomenal, Jesse. And you're definitely in for that big bounce back off a hard week. We know it comes, and I think it's going to start right now tonight with Thursday Night Football. But thank you so much for joining us here on All-Jo Madden. I wish you all the best in all your bets tonight.
Thanks for having me, Joe.
Thank you. Okay, you guys, if you are looking for Jesse's best picks, like he was saying, head on over to picksandparlays.net. You'll find them all over there. And he is part of the Weekend Warrior. Again, if you haven't heard of the Weekend Warrior, if you're just joining the show today, the Weekend Warrior is running on the weekends. You'll be able to get the handicapper of your choices. I almost said the football player of your choices, the handicapper of your choices, Saturday and Sunday. Best bets in football for only $49. They will include those Monday plays as well as Week 7 is here in the NFL. You definitely want to jump on that, as well as you get those college picks. So don't miss out. And as soon as those plays start being loaded, don't wait till Saturday, because if the plays are loaded tonight, they're loaded tomorrow. You're going to be getting them as soon as you buy that package. So you don't have to wait till the day of when we could see line movement. So make sure you do so. You guys, we do have X versus the books up and running. So go get your votes in. X versus the books on tonight's game. The Steelers are getting 38% of the love, laying the 5.5. We're seeing the Cincinnati Bengals at 31.1%, the over 44.5 at 13%, and the under getting the love at 16.7%. So if you haven't voted, you're watching the show, head on over to my X. That's at Joe Madden Sports on X. You can get your votes in. We're going to have a look at this again at the end of the show just to see where everyone is coming. Now, when we've ran these polls, X versus the books, we've been pretty split, the public versus the books and what we're seeing on X. So do go get those votes in. I want you to drop your props below, and anyone in the live chat, let me know who you've got tonight for the anytime touchdown. You know we're going to do fade or follow the Madden plays at the end of the show. I'm bringing those defensive props for you, even though these defenses are a little banged up and you can't trust Cincy's defense, right? But I got defensive props for you. I've got my 2 favorite players for an anytime touchdown, as well as quarterback prop bets. So stay tuned for that. We're going to bring in Dre Rich. He's going to be coming at you with Thursday Night Football. He's going to be talking the Seattle Mariners, Toronto Blue Jays, Game 4. He's also got a college football game that you don't want to miss out on. So you guys don't go anywhere while I'm bringing him in here. Make sure you do hit that like button over here on YouTube. We want to see this show 5 days a week. Well, if you guys want to see it 5 days a week, Monday to Friday, for all of your best bets for the day, make sure you do. Just do us a solid. Hit that like button. But let's bring in Dre Rich to the show. We're going to see what he's liking firstly in Thursday Night Football. Good morning, Dre. How are you today?
Not bad. Ready to cash some bets.
Absolutely. It's time to make some freaking money. How's the week treated you so far? We've had a solid slate. We had Monday Night Football. We've had MLB. The action out there on the diamonds has been hot, and we've had some college football on Tuesday and Wednesday night. So how's the week been so far?
Oh, it's been very well. We cashed last night on the Blue Jays, and it was a good cash, and the Dodgers as well. Dodgers they did what they supposed to do. They have strong bats.
Oh, the Dodgers absolutely have strong bats out there. It's going to be great to see their next game. Good morning, Kev. I just want to give a shout out to everyone coming in. And now we've got Jermaine coming in here with the Bengals plus the 5.5. Flacco over at 25.5 completions. Aaron Rodgers over 29.5 completions. And Warren under 47.5 rushing yards. Chase Brown under 44.5 rushing yards. So those are his bets. We're going to jump into what you're liking, Dre, out here on Thursday Night Football. Not really much movement here as we've started the show. Still seeing that spread of 5.5 for Mike Tomlin Steelers on the road. That's normally not a spot you want to bet Mike Tomlin as a favorite, is it?
No, he's actually a much better underdog on the books, and history shows that. But it's a tough game to pick. I kind of like Cincinnati in this game.
Yeah, Cincinnati coming in here, 5.5 point dogs. You like it, Jesse likes it. I know we had Sean Higgs on Monday Night Football or the Monday show talking Monday Night Football, but as soon as he saw that line for this game, that's exactly what he said, plus the 5.5 for the Cincinnati Bengals. You've got a rivalry game here. You've got Cincy at home being the home dog with Joe Flacco with another week under his belt. We saw how solid he was versus the Packers. So what else do you like about the Cincinnati Bengals in tonight's spot?
Those are good points. I want to also elaborate on those. The Steelers, they allow the sixth most passing yards in the air, or most yards in the air, and they're versing a pass-heavy Cincy offense. We all know that. Like I said, Joe Flacco played very well against the Packers, and it's a much better defense than the one that the Steelers have. So I'm all over Joe Flacco having a decent night here, and over 1.5 passing touchdowns is certainly in play because the Steelers are allowing one per game. What's putting past Joe Flacco getting two here? So it's a good price on the books as well. So I'm all over that. And Jalen Warren touchdown. It's going to be an easy money for him to get a touchdown here. He's going to get all the run. He's the most reliable guy on the field. So give me that one as well.
Yeah, I like where you're going with that touchdown for Jalen Warren. Jalen Warren coming in for the anytime touchdown, you guys, is coming in at minus 135. Currently on the books, if you want to look at a first or last touchdown, you're getting plus 450 for the first, plus 500 for the last. So he is the odds-on favorite, Dre, to get the touchdown tonight. We'll see what he's able to do. So Dre's best bets in this one, you have Cincinnati plus the 5.5, Joe Flacco over 1.5 passing touchdowns. Like you said, he got 2 last week in that game versus the Packers, and Jalen Warren for the anytime touchdown. Definitely like where you're going there, Dre, with those bets. I think they're a nice, solid way to come in to this game tonight. I do think it's going to be a tight battle where they go back and forth. Any thoughts on that total?
It's a weird total. These games are always tight. I can see why the books are going under, but the over is definitely liable. And I'm obviously betting the bets that would get to the over in this game because I like the touchdowns for Joe Flacco. And if he's scoring, it's a guarantee that the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to score too because the defense for the Bengals is terrible. So I want the over.
Yeah, Jermaine coming in here. He said he saw Warren's numbers at 48.5 for the rushing yards and looked back, and it came down to 47.5. Quite sure the world is on the over. What do you think of that? I know you're going to look at him for his anytime tutty out there, but do you think he's going to have limited play in this game?
I think Warren will have enough chances for sure in this game. It's really hard to decide if they're going to give run to the rookie Caleb Johnson, who they got in the draft. He's pretty good, as well as Kenneth Gainwell. They have Kenneth Gainwell from the Eagles from last year. So there's a lot of guys who can get run here, so it's kind of hard to bet on this pick. I would just avoid this bet altogether. It's really hard to just choose over or under, so I would just fade this one.
Okay, let's talk some baseball. I know we got game 4 here between the Toronto Blue Jays and the Seattle Mariners. Now, Toronto had a huge game, the game that they absolutely needed last night, winning game 3. Shane Bieber came out so solid. I know a lot of faith wasn't in him from people saying he's only so many games off Tommy John surgery, and they were thinking that Seattle was going to roll. I know you were on Toronto yesterday. My heart was on Toronto. I had Shane Bieber for his strikeouts and his outs, and that did cash. But tonight, it's Toronto taking on Seattle in game 4. We have Seattle up 2-1. Max Scherzer getting the start here for the Jays. They're plus 108 on the money line. The Seattle Mariners are minus 120, guys, and this total 7.5. We saw that total be blown out yesterday in a high-scoring one. What are you liking in tonight's matchup, Dre?
It's the trust that they have in these older pitchers is beyond me, for real. I like Shane Bieber. I didn't like him in the season, and I knew that he was going to have a struggle, but he showed up. I don't believe in Max Scherzer to do the same thing here. He's not good. He's just not a good pitcher. This is his first post start of the season, so he has not played at all this postseason. So you're trusting him in a really important spot to come up with a win here. I can't trust them to slow down these Mariners bats for a second straight game. I like the over 7.5 here. I think he gives up most of the runs in this game. Luis Castillo, I like him a lot. But he's going to be pitching a lot of innings. So him to get over 4.5 hits is very liable because of the time he'll be on the mound. It's just, these Toronto bats are really good as well. And Luis might not give up as many runs as Scherzer will. But I know that before Scherzer leaves the mound, 3 or 4 runs will be given up. And that's going to get us to this over because the Mariners' relief pitchers are not reliable either. So the over 7.5 is very prime.
Ooh, so you got the Mariners money line here at minus 126, the over 7.5 at minus 104, you guys, in Castillo. Over 4.5 hits allowed. Dre, I thought we were friends here on a Thursday morning. You're fading my Toronto Blue Jays here with me. You're gonna have to get my jersey on and represent. I hope Toronto's able to pull it out, but I completely understand where you're going. The lack of faith in Max Scherzer, he's hit or miss, right? He's either going to come out, he's going to be great, or he's not. And that is the biggest concern with Toronto in this one. And I know they made improvements to their bullpen, but I still panic every time the bullpen comes in. And then you talked about it, the bullpen there, the Seattle Mariners. I love this over. I love where you're going at minus 104 to the over. I do think the defenses have those mistakes, have those struggles out there. So we can agree completely on that. My money isn't on Toronto tonight, though, you guys. My heart is. It's the heart, Dre.
Okay. I love that. I'm rooting for him.
Yeah, it would be great to see. But I sat here with Jesse Schultz a couple of weeks ago, and I said, Toronto does feel like, he said it feels like they're glued together with duct tape, and I completely feel so as well. Vladdy needs to really come to bat today and be able to knock it out of the park if they want to tie this one up. But Seattle probably takes that commanding lead, and then we'll see Toronto maybe get the next one. I hope this one goes all the way to 7, Jesse. Let's look at some college football tonight. I know you have a game that you have circled, Nebraska versus Minnesota. What are you liking in this matchup?
These two teams aren't, Nebraska specifically is a really good team. Minnesota, very underwhelming, have not had a good season, but they don't really ever have a good season. But Nebraska's passing defense is really good. They're really stout against the pass. And this under 47.5 bet that I have, it seems like it's too easy to bet because both teams seem like they shouldn't be doing too much in this game. But I just don't see Nebraska being as offensively successful as they have been this season on a road spot against Minnesota when they have a gauntlet to go through in the next 3 weeks. They're probably going to use the run game a lot. They have Emmett Johnson from Nebraska, who is a beast. He ran for 176 yards last game. I'm sure he's going to do the same here. Very similar numbers. The Golden Gophers do not run the ball a lot, but it would serve them well to do so here because Nebraska is number one or top 5 in passing defense. So give me the under 47.5. I think it's a little too high.
Yeah, it seems a little too high in this one. So you guys looking at Dre's best bet for the show, Nebraska and Minnesota, he's going under the 47.5. Now, do you think we're going to see this line adjust at all, or are you happy with putting this one in right now, Dre?
I think it will stop where it's at. I don't think it's going to go any higher than 47.5. I think the under is more likely to go downhill than uphill in this bet.
Awesome. Okay, if everyone's looking for your best plays out there, if they head on over to picksandparlays.net, what can they find today for sale and expect this weekend?
Hey guys, I'm 10-4 in MLB the postseason. So like I'm catching bets all day in MLB. I'm trying to get into NHL, which has been booming since it started. People love NHL. I'm trying to get into it. It's hard to watch. It's a long game, but I'm trying to give you those bets for those two.
Whoa, Dre, it's not hard to watch. Hockey is my favorite thing to watch out there. Come on now. Okay, you can go back. You can talk. I just had to interject that. Go ahead.
I watched the Stanley Cup, but that's about it. But like I said, I'm trying to expand my betting realm to get y'all more winning picks. But I'm not going to do it until I understand the game 100%. Maybe you can teach me something, Joe, because I don't know a lot about it. But yes, I have picks on the site. I give prop bets with every pick, so please buy those. You're getting more for your buck when you buy my picks because you're getting 3 picks for $30, and even more for a less price, as well as my podcast that I have, Money Huddle. Watch that on YouTube or Spotify. Thank you very much.
Awesome, Dre. Thank you so much for joining us today. And the best advice I can give everyone for betting hockey out there is know what you like going into these games. Those live markets, the numbers move insane. It's like when you watch college basketball and teams go on a run, Dre. I know you love betting college basketball. Hockey's the same. The overreaction by the books. You'll have a $3 favorite drop to a plus 105 dog when the opponent scores. So there's a lot of opportunities in hockey to live bet it, make some money. But I really appreciate your time here with us today. Absolutely crushed the books tonight. 10-6 or 10-4, 6-4. What are you in baseball? 6-4, 10-4. I've got that number in my head.
10-4.
10-4.
I'm 10-4 in baseball postseason.
Yeah, crushing it. Absolutely crushing it. You're crushing it out there on the field as well. So best of luck in all of your bets tonight, Dre. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Okay, you guys, that was Dre Rich. He's absolutely crushing it across the book. So make sure you do head over to picksandparlays.net for all of his best bets. And Kev, you know hockey is so fun to watch. I'm absolutely there with you. Let's jump into what I'm liking today. We're going to do the recap of Jesse and Dre's bets. I'm going to get that up for you first here, what they're liking out there. Now, none of my bets contradict with these guys, which I absolutely love here on a Thursday morning. So looking at Jesse's best bets in Thursday Night Football, he did join us first today. He's got the Cincinnati Bengals plus the 5.5. He's got the over 44.5. Jamar Chase for over 6.5 receptions. So nice solid bets coming in there for Jesse Schulz. Again, if you're looking for his best bets, head on over to picksandparlays.net. When we look at Dre Rich, what he's liking for Thursday Night Football, he's in agreement with Jesse Schulz, and so is Sean Higgs that was on Monday. Both of them liking the Cincinnati Bengals plus the 5.5. He is rattling with Joe Flacco over 1.5 passing touchdowns. It's great plus money, you guys. Something that I am on as well. And then Jaylen Warren for the anytime touchdown. His anytime touchdown, I believe it was minus 125. So a little juicy there, but I think a solid way to go. In baseball, Dre is rolling with the Mariners on the money line at minus 126. The over 7.5 runs in this game at minus 104, and Castillo over 4.5. hits allowed. And then in college football, Dre is going to also roll with Nebraska and Minnesota under the 47.5. So let's jump into a couple things that I'm liking. We did run X versus the books over on X. We're still seeing the love here for the Pittsburgh Steelers at 38.9%. Laying the 5.5. I'm not sure, you guys. It's really hard for me to lay 5.5 with Mike Tomlin. If I'm laying 5.5 with Mike Tomlin, I'd just fire it up. You got to think they win convincingly, not just by a touchdown there. The Cincinnati Bengals getting 31.1% and the under coming in at 16.7% there. So I don't know. I'm a little leery of that under as well, you guys. I don't think this is a slower game. I think this is a game that has every opportunity to go to OT. So when I look at it, I have to roll maybe with the Bengals with the guys, but I do have best bets. And this is where it comes down to, I do think this one is a higher scoring game. So I'm going to start off with those quarterbacks. We look at two competent quarterbacks here between Joe Flacco and Aaron Rodgers, and they hear all of your guys' talk about the aging quarterbacks. Not a lot of love coming in for Aaron Rodgers. He tries to do his best to get that love from you guys, and you guys just aren't having it. Joe Flacco came off the couch. We know that the other season and was able to play strong. And then coming in to the Cincinnati Bengals being traded from the Browns, he looked like he had been with this team for more than just a couple of days out there. Yes, he did wear the plays on his wrist, which is something you normally don't see out of Joe Flacco. So it's going to be interesting to see with a couple more days out there if he'll have those plays on his wrist tonight. I'm expecting it, but if Joe Flacco rolls out with no plays on his wrist, you guys, I'm going to just live bet the Cincinnati Bengals straight up on the money line. The cockiness of Joe Flacco to not have to have those plays with him. Yeah, he's got the confidence out there for sure. So I'm going to look at his passing attempts. Jesse Schultz brought this up as well, and I love it. You look at Joe Flacco in that game versus Green Bay. He was able to have 45 passing attempts, converting 29 of them, 36.5. I know it's a large number, but this offensive line, he will get the pressure. We know the offensive line is terrible in front of him. They can't establish the run game. They can't open up those lanes. Joe Flacco is going to have to pass it. Now, maybe they're shorter passes. We're not seeing those big, deep bombs to Higgins and Chase, but I do think we'll get those passing attempts. So I will take Joe Flacco over 36.5 passing attempts. And I love where Dre Rich went with the passing touchdowns. I jumped on it as well. The over 1.5 passing touchdowns for Joe Flacco at plus 154. When we look at Aaron Rodgers, we know he gets the hate, you guys. Look at him in that picture. He can hear that hate. He's going to have a big night. I'm looking for Aaron Rodgers to be able to move this ball nice and deep on the secondary here, the Cincinnati Bengals, that I cannot trust. Over 216.5 passing yards for Aaron Rodgers, I do think is the best way to go. But I think this is a line that you can absolutely fire up in this one. If you look at alt lines out here for Joe Flacco, I'm just going to pull those up for you guys. The 250 plus is coming in at plus 178. If you take him for 275 plus, the secondary here of the Cincinnati Bengals is terrible. So I don't see why you can't fire up Aaron Rodgers tonight. So 275 plus is plus 310. I do think he can get close to 300 yards through the air on the Cincinnati Bengals defense. I don't trust their secondary. Now, when we look at the Steelers secondary, it is banged up as well. And I do think they're going to have some troubles here with Joe Flacco. And that's why I'm looking at the Joe Flacco props as well. We know this is the AFC North clash, right? These two quarterbacks are going to battle it out for sure. And I do think both will have success in this game. It's the defenses that I'm fading to a certain point. If there's one defense I have more faith in, it is the Steelers, and it is to break through that offensive line of the Cincinnati Bengals and get to Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco is going to have to get that ball out of his hands so quickly because there's three playmakers I'm looking at here for those sacks. Now, we've got two of them in a parlay because two of them are too highly juiced alone, but another guy separately, and if he gets it, we're going to be in for a big night. Now, I do like some touchdown scorers, and that's what we're going to look at. Firstly, I wanted to go over a couple of things about Mike Tomlin and where we see him after, what he's done versus other coaches as a favorite in this kind of situation. Also, at night. So there's a couple stats for you. So Tomlin has coached 9 games at night on short rest. Okay. So on those short rest night games, he's only 3-6 straight up and against the spread in those games. Tomlin versus the Cincinnati Bengals, he's had a whole lot of success. You guys going 25-11-1 against the spread. It's by far his most profitable opponent against the spread that he has faced. But when the games are set in Cincinnati, Tomlin is 13-5-1 against the spread, and they've covered in the last 3. So he's had the strength there. Again, though, you look at Mike Tomlin as a favorite in these kind of situations, and in Thursday night football games, and Tomlin has had those struggles. That's where the but comes in. Tomlin is in Thursday night road games 2-8 straight up and 3-7 against the spread in those. And they've lost 4 in a row, both straight up and against the spread. Their last win coming on a Thursday night in 2016. So can he get over that hurdle? I'm a big believer in the Steelers. I'm a believer in their win total this season, which looks like we're going to cruise past. So as a favorite of 4 or more points, Tomlin is only 13-26-1 against the spread since 2017. The least profitable coach in the NFL, even after covering a 6.5-point favorite versus the Browns last week. So Tomlin, it's a hard spot. He did cover as a big favorite last week for him to be able to come back. And then you look at Mike Tomlin versus Zach Taylor here of the Cincinnati Bengals, and they have met 12 times. Tomlin is 7-5 straight up, 8-4 against the spread in those games. When Mike Tomlin doesn't, or when Zach Taylor doesn't have Burrows, Tomlin is 4-1 straight up and against the spread. So no Burrows here, inserting Joe Flacco. When he does, Tomlin's 3-4 straight up and against that spread. So interesting numbers to go over there. Just those stats for Mike Tomlin. I know you guys love those stats as much as I do, but let's look at the players that I'm thinking will get in the end zone in this one. Let me just see. I think I missed uploading that. Let me just upload my graphic here for who's going to get in the end zone. We want to see those touchdowns being scored tonight, especially if we're looking at this game to go to the over. So let's look at it here. We've got my best bets for the anytime tutties. I'm going to take Kenneth Gainwell here of the Pittsburgh Steelers. I do think he has every opportunity to get a short handoff, to either get the handoff or a short pass from Aaron Rodgers in the red zone. Kenneth Gainwell coming in at plus 195 for that anytime tutty. We know he is so powerful with his legs, and especially if they're looking at a 3rd and 1, I do think in the red zone, Kenneth Gainwell will get the trust out there. So I'll take him for the anytime tutty at plus 195. And then we look here at Ja'Marr Chase. You got to love what Ja'Marr Chase brings to the table. And I do think he has every ability to get that tutty for us today. Joe Flacco is going to be looking for him and his hands. And with a couple more days of connection between these two out there on the field, I do think we see that big pass to Ja'Marr Chase, and Ja'Marr Chase run it in. So he's coming in at plus 140 for that anytime tutty. But you guys know it is all about the defense for me. And I am looking here tonight at the defensive props. And that is the one graphic that I did miss uploading. So let me just get this graphic in here. I knew there was one when I looked at my sheet. And maybe I just don't have it here. Just give me 1 second, you guys. Maybe this is it. Is this the graphic I'm looking for? Hopefully this is the graphic, you guys. Okay, we got it. This is all about the D, you guys. And I'm sorry if the writing is hard to read here. I tried to make it a little bit easier for you. TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith, they are going to be putting all that pressure on Joe Flacco. Now, I do think the sacks are coming in this game, and that's exactly where I went. I went with the defense I trusted the most to be able to get those sacks. Now, interesting to see the anytime interceptions still not posted for the quarterbacks on the majority of the books. So I do think these quarterbacks will throw the interceptions. Could we see the defensive touchdown? Absolutely, on both sides of things, as these quarterbacks are slinging this ball deep down the field. But I do think if you're trusting one defense over the other, you've got to trust the defense here of the Pittsburgh Steelers to break through that weak offensive line in front of Joe Flacco and get to him. Your best long shot here is Cameron Hayward. Cameron Hayward has been able to take down Joe Burrow behind this offensive line, who's more mobile than Joe Flacco. So I do think Cameron Hayward has every ability to get to Joe Flacco tonight. His anytime sack coming in at plus 182. Now, TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith, I do think as well can break through that offensive line. The problem with them is TJ Watt for the anytime sack is minus 188. Not a place I want to go. Just way too much juice for me, you guys. Alex Highsmith is minus 114. So if you just like Highsmith, you can bet that at minus 114 if your juice tolerance is there. What I liked better is I do think there's probably a handful of sacks in this game. I will be shocked if Joe Flacco isn't taken down 5 times by the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think those sacks are coming in huge tonight, even though he's going to get those pass attempts. He's going to have those short passes off. I think that first half is where you see the majority of the sacks. And then in the second half, you see Joe Flacco kind of get a little bit more rhythm here. But it's not unreasonable to think we can't get 3 sacks. And if we get all 3 of these guys for a sack tonight, you parlay JJ Watt and Alex Highsmith for the sack coming in at plus 165. And then Cameron Hayward at plus 182 for the anytime sack. So I do think it's a solid way to go, you guys. It's going to be a great Thursday night football game. But let me know below this show, if you're watching it on repeat, what you do like out there today. We're going to go over all of those Thursday night football bets for you guys one more time with what the guys were liking. And remember, if you are looking for the best bets for any of the handicappers here on picksandparlays.net, do head on over to the website. You can grab their packages over there. And don't forget that Weekend Warrior will be running this weekend. You'll get every football play from your handicapper of choices. Bets for just $49 on Saturday and Sunday. They're going to include those Monday plays at no extra cost. And there is this Friday, grab the $7 best bet from all participating handicappers over on picksandparlays.net. So don't miss out on that. But let's recap where these guys are liking. Below, please drop who you're liking for the anytime tutty, which side you're going to be on tonight. X versus a book still sitting there nice and solid with the Steelers laying the 5.5 and the under 44.5. Now, Jesse Schultz came in with Cincy plus the 5.5, the over 44. Jamar Chase over 6.5 receptions. Dre Rich rolled in with Cincy plus the 5.5. Joe Flacco over the 1.5 passing touchdowns, and Jaylen Warren for the anytime touchdown. And for myself, I went with Joe Flacco over 36.5 passing attempts, over 1.5 passing touchdowns at plus 154. Aaron Rodgers over 216.5 passing yards, firing that all the way up to plus 275, over 275 passing yards, if I can talk this morning. That came in at, what was that number? I'm just trying to think the alt number where we went. 275 plus yards plus 310. So lots of value there, firing up Aaron Rodgers tonight. I think he's in for a big night. I also went with those anytime tutties, you guys. Kevin Gainwell plus 195 for the tutty, and Jamar Chase for the tutty at plus 140. And those defensive props one more time. The parlay of Alex Highsmith and TJ Watt for the sack at plus 165. And then Cameron Hayward for the sack at plus 182. So those are your Thursday night football best bets here on All-Jo Madden. If you're looking for Dre Rich's MLB, he did go with Seattle on the money line. They're right around that minus 126. Over 7.5 at minus 104. And Castile over 4.5 hits allowed. And then Nebraska versus Minnesota. He took the under 47.5. But you guys, all the best in all your bets. Make sure you do stay tuned here to Picks and Parlays for all of our free content over here on YouTube. I've got a long video out on tonight's Thursday night football game. Head on over and check that out, as well as all the handicappers on picksandparlays.net. Free videos. They are pretty hot. Great bets coming in on them. So don't miss out on those. Make sure you do me that favor of hitting that like button. I will be back tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Eastern. So make sure you do join me then, you guys. All the best in all of your bets. Until tomorrow, stay hot and let's make some freaking money.